once again it's on. You know what time it is. It's time to play some Toss. Welcome everyone to episode 117 of Toss, Tristain on Sports Show. Yes, it is your main man, T-Squared, Tristain Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We're going to keep our eyes on our own paper this week with an all state of the state episode. The Brewers, the misery is over, and I got all the smoke for them. The Badgers finally made a move that probably should have happened years ago. And the Packers, gritty victory in overtime. I've got some concerns. A win is a win, but I got some concerns. But you know how we are, how we get things started here on Toss. We get things started with the state of the state, and that's where we're going to stay this week. Again, keeping our eyes on our own paper. All state of the state episode. Let's start off with those Milwaukee Brewers, because I got all the smoke for them, and I'm not joking. They are the authors of their own pain. What have I been saying for years about the Brewers? You know what? Before we even get to that, before we give them the tongue lashing and the tough love that they so rightfully deserve, they were eliminated from playoff contention on Monday. Season's over now. Regular season's over. Teams are getting ready for the wild card playoff game. Division winners are getting ready for their NLDS series. Brewers taking their behinds home. How you go win a game in extras and then find out, oh, you got eliminated from playoff contention because the Philadelphia Phillies won. Those same Philadelphia Phillies who have not been playing well, and you cannot capitalize. How do you lose 3 of 4 in a crucial series? Your season was on the line in this series. How do you lose 3 of 4 to a Miami Marlins team that came into that series with 91 losses? You allow them to come into your crib and take everything from you. It was crucial to even just split that series because the Phillies were not playing well. The Crew had every opportunity in the book to make postseason. And quite frankly, it's not so much that I'm mad that they didn't make the postseason. Because even if they made it, it probably would have been a one and done. I know I'm a big proponent of, hey, just get in the tournament and anything can happen. And it can. We saw what happened with the Nationals. We saw what happened with the Braves just last season. Oh, guess what? They went through you. Sometimes all you have to do is just get in and get hot and anything can happen. But this team did not have that makeup. People tend to forget how last year's team was. Last year's team that won the Central Division, last year's Brewer squad that won the Central, they got incredibly hot. They got incredibly hot. Guys were hitting a little bit better. The pitching was still stellar. The defense was good. But they got incredibly hot. Pulled away in the division. Won it. Got themselves a 5-game series. Ended up losing to the Braves. But they got incredibly hot just to even get into position to even overtake the Central Division and then pull away with it. This team did not have that makeup because even with last year's team, what did I tell you all? The year before that, what did I tell you all? If I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. And I'm going to keep saying it till we see some actual change. You cannot come into the next season with that same offense. Can't do it. Cannot do it. But what did they do? They did that. They decided to continue to trade for the same guys, feast or famine. If they're not hitting home runs, they're not doing a damn thing at all. They're not getting on base. They're not getting base hits. They're striking out. Constantly waiting for the 2-1, 2-run, and 3-run home run to put runs up on the board and to win them games. Yeah, sure, great. They'll end with a winning season this year. Okay, cool. But you're not going to the postseason. And even if you did, you wouldn't have done a damn thing. It's literally the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing repeatedly, expecting a different result. And that's what the Brewers are. They are mired in insanity. You keep bringing in the same guys who can't hit a lick to save their lives. You're not telling the truth about yourself about Christian Yelich. He is not the same guy. After he broke his kneecap in the midst of another MVP year, and believe me, he was going to win MVP again, changed everything for him. I won't say it changed the franchise. Changed everything for him. Because with guys like Stearns and Arnold at the helm making the same decisions each and every single year on the same guys, looking at all their analytics and statistics and bringing in correct counsel to do the same damn thing, it's not working anymore. Everybody has caught up with it. The league has changed. The style of play has changed. You have not adapted. You have to have guys who can hit the baseball. I'm not talking about absolutely mash it out the park. I'm talking Tony Gwynn hit the baseball. Get on base. Move station to station. It's okay. Because come postseason, that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to pitching and defense, and runs are going to be at a premium. And you're going to have to be able to manufacture those. But you cannot manufacture runs with an offense that can't even touch the baseball with the bat. The Josh Hader trade absolutely fractured this team. It's not just because they really loved Hader as a teammate. It's about what he brought to this team, how automatic he was. Yeah, he had a rough couple of months, but he seemed to straighten that all out once he got to San Diego. Yeah, he had a few choppy sections of water out there, but then he flattened it out, he straightened it out. Whereas guys like Bush that you traded for, Rogers is the very guy you traded Hader for. Lamed you decided to let him go. He pitched lights out for Colorado. You talk about guys like Bush. You talk about guys like Rogers. None of those guys did a damn thing. They were awful. Meanwhile, Josh Hader straightened himself out, and he's going to postseason with the Padres. But it didn't just fracture the locker room in the fact that they took away a great teammate amongst that locker room, a really good player on that team. But it sent a message to the entire locker room that, hey, well, you know, we're not really serious about going to do anything real. And I've said it on this program all the time. Multiple times. Mark Antanasio is the new Herb Cole. And the thing is, I love and respect Herb Cole. Again, he saved basketball in the state of Wisconsin on multiple occasions. But for 2 decades, he was mired in this chase the 8 type of deal. Didn't care. Just wanted to make the playoffs to get the extra revenue, and he was happy. If you want a division here or there, even better. But just get in the postseason. I'm happy with that. That's where Mark Antanasio is. Even David Stern says, hey, the direction was, hey, get to the playoffs. If that is the mindset of your owner, if that is the mindset of the front office brains, and I'm using that term very loosely right now because it's, excuse me, that's my passion talking. But we are truthful, opinionated, passionate here. So no apologies. If that is the thought process, the foundation in which your owner and your brain trust are lying down, it's a problem. They believe that Milwaukee is okay and perfectly fine. Milwaukee Brewers fans are perfectly fine with just making the playoffs. And we're just happy with that because for a long time, they weren't consistently making the playoffs. They were consistently losing 90 and 100 games. Oh, this is heaven. This is baseball heaven. We got it really good. No. With the kind of pitching that you have, with the kind of defense you have, it's championship caliber. Offense is and has always been your problem. And finding guys who are feast or famine up and down your lineup is not going to bring a championship to Milwaukee. It just isn't. It's not going to happen. It may be time to wipe the slate clean. Do you go and clean house? And everybody's going to, some people are going to listen to this and be like, oh, yeah, it is your passion talking. You're mad they didn't make the postseason. You damn right I'm mad they didn't make the postseason. But it's what led up to them not making the postseason that pisses me off. This team got off to the best 50-game start in franchise history. Think about that for a minute. Cardinals were under 500. They were struggling. But like I say, death, taxes, Cardinals make a run. So I knew they were exactly where they wanted to be. But you got off to your best 50-game start in franchise history. You had an opportunity to stretch the lead so far out that even if they did make a run, they would not be able to run you down. But instead, here we are. They won the division. They ran you down. They ran past you. They ran laps around you. And you sitting your behinds at home. It's the manner in which they missed the playoffs that makes me mad. Because for years on this very program, I've been saying this. You cannot come into this season with the same offense that you had the past season. Can't do it. Cannot do it. And what do? That. I'm not advocating for people to lose their jobs. I don't want people to lose their job. But if you're not yielding results that should be happening, what do you think is going to happen as a result? You're not going to be there to do the job any longer because you're not getting the job done. So Mark Antanasio is going to have to look at himself in the mirror. David Stearns, Matt Arnold, Craig Counsell. They're all going to have to take a real hard look at this, a real look at this. and say, we really need to lay a foundation down that is different than what we have currently. This can't just be a make the playoff situation. This can't just be a make the wild card situation. Who knows where we're going to have this good of a pitching staff ever again? We've got a pretty good defense. We got to do something. We got to do something different. Our demeanor has to be different. The way we go about business has to be different. Because if you don't do that, and you keep yielding the same results, you wonder why the gates aren't as plentiful at AmFam Field as they have been in the past. And it ain't got anything to do with Valley Sports, even though that's a whole different story for a whole different day. It's got to do with the product that you continuously put on the field and the message that you not only send to the team, but you send to fans out there. They're tired of this chase to 8 mentality. They're tired of this chase to wild card mentality. It's time to bring a championship to Milwaukee. That is what the people are expecting. And you have to step up to that. How you get there? You need a completely different offensive approach. I don't know what you need to do with your analytics, your sabermetrics, whatever. But I said it once and I'll say it 1,000 more times. You cannot go into 2023 with the same offense that you did in 22, 21, 2020. Can't do it. Cannot do it. Because you're going to miss the playoffs again. And then you're going to miss the playoffs again. And you're going to miss the playoffs again. And AmFam Field is going to look even more empty than County Stadium did. Let's continue here on this all state of the state episode on Toss and go to Madison, Wisconsin and talk about the Wisconsin Badgers football team who, as I said in the teaser, finally made a move that probably should have happened a few seasons ago as they fired Paul Chryst. Again, I don't take pleasure in guys losing their job, but when you're not yielding the results, you can't be there to do the job anymore. Badgers fired Paul Chryst. In this time in Wisconsin, he ends up with a 67-26 record, 43-16 in Big Ten Conference play. That 16th loss being real ugly to the Illini. That was just, oh my gosh. That Illinois game was just the final nail in the coffin. It was really just an extra insult because there have been plenty final nails in the coffin, in my opinion, but that's a different story for a different day. He went 6-1 in bowl games. That one loss was a 1-point loss in a Rose Bowl. Paul Chryst is a good man. And he was an excellent football coach for a good while. But at some point, cracks in the foundation began to show. And those cracks became a complete erosion. Now, Roland Martin, who's the founder and he's a host on the Black Star Network, go ahead, download the app, consume the content on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, doing some great things with the Black Star Network. Black-owned media matters. Just remember that. He had a comment on this after Wisconsin fired the coach. And his is from a different perspective. But I also had to say something about it. So on Twitter, he said, these colleges are, in all caps, stupid. They're bored, and talking about Wisconsin in regards to Paul Chryst, their board extended his contract 5 years in January, again, all caps. You finished 9-4 in all caps last year. Man, get all $16 million of your buyout. And then he obviously was commenting on the story about Wisconsin. And, I agree with him on the fact that these colleges are idiotic. I agree with him that the Wisconsin Board of Trustees was idiotic to extend Paul Chryst's contract. And yeah, they finished 9-4 last year, but the point is they should have not have finished 9-4 last year. Paul Chris's decisions cost them games. So he tweeted that out, and I responded to his tweet. And I said, and you can go and follow me at the20double on Twitter and Instagram. Follow me there. And I told him, and I said, quote, I'll say this. The time to let Chris go was at the end of last season. Cracks started to form back in 2018. Those culminated in a full erosion this season. Should have never been extended to begin with. D carried this team, conference figured out offense. He never adjusted, end quote. That's what I said to Roland Martin on Twitter. And again, I agree with him. I agree with him. But he looks at that 9-4 record and thinks, things were great. Things were not great. That team was better than a 9-4 team, especially that defense. And to lose the way you did in the final week of the season to Minnesota for Paul Bunyan's axe and a spot in the Big Ten championship game, that was a nail in the coffin for me. That was full erosion for me. And to get off to the start that you did this season and then that loss to Illinois, again, that was just an extra insult. When they went 8-5 in 2018 with that defense, with those running backs, with that offensive line, no way they should have gone 8-5 that year. Yeah, they bounced back with the 10-win season. I believe they went 10-3 or something like that, 10-4. Following year was that COVID year, and even then they didn't play that well. I believe it was a 7-game season. Yeah, it came back 9-4 last year, but should not have been 9-4. Really should have been 11-2. Could have been 12-1. And that was the problem. That was a problem with Paul Chryst on the field, his decision-making, his play calling. None of it worked. And not to mention the recruiting. They were going without a recruiting department. They lost out on hella talent. So it was just a full erosion on the athletic department's part, on Paul Chryst's part. It was time for him to go. Again, you don't sit here and actively lobby for anybody to lose their job unless they did something horrendous, in which case they don't deserve the privilege to be there. But his decision-making cost him his job years ago to me, but he was still there. Now it's Jim Leonard's show. Former defensive coordinator, now the acting head coach. This is his audition, really. There have been cries for him to become head coach. They felt that he stayed at Wisconsin, not just because he loves Wisconsin, not just because he is a Badger. Went on to have a good, long NFL career, pretty successful. Came to Wisconsin, has the chops to be a DC. Now he's the acting head coach. We'll see what he's able to do the rest of the season. Hopefully they're able to salvage it. But this is his audition. So many people were screaming for him to be the head coach. Let Chris go. Let Jim Leonard be head coach. He's had this defense flying around for years. He's had this defense in the top 3, top 5 of total defense in the nation past few years. He's earned that opportunity. But we'll see what he can do with it. You hope he and his coaching staff and these players are able to salvage the rest of the season. You hope the decision-making gets better, both with the play calling, player personnel. This is truly his audition. If he wants this job, if he wants to be a head coach, you're acting head coach right now. Make them not have to make a tough decision. Be undamn deniable. Go and get the job done. All right, let's move on from that. Let's get to something that's a little bit less blood pressure inducing, just a little bit less, as we move on here on Toss on State of the State. And let's go on to the Green Bay Packers. They beat the Patriots in overtime. Let me hit you with that again. They beat the Patriots in overtime, 27-24. Patriots without their starting quarterback, Mac Jones, have been really inconsistent all season to that point. As I had mentioned on Quick Toss, which you can watch on YouTube, Team Truth 12. I said Bill Belichick was going to try to stop something because he would not be able to stop both things. He wasn't going to be able to stop both the pass and the run. He's going to have to pick his poison and take his chances on the other. But he was without his starting quarterback. He goes in with Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer gets concussed. Now it's the third string quarterback and a rookie at that. And I mentioned this. I said, hey, do not be surprised if we see Bailey Zappi. I have a feeling we're going to see the rookie. It could be because of a blowout. It could be because of injury, which you obviously don't hope. But we're going to see the rook. I said this. I said this on Twitter. Said this on Quick Toss. Hey, we may see him. We don't know. Well, we saw him. And the thing is, the rook was not rattled. Packers did not do a good job of making him uncomfortable. As a matter of fact, he was too comfortable. Able to keep the chains moving. Get the Patriots a lead. They were up 27-14 late in that fourth quarter. Before the Packers decided to wake up, make some plays in a passing game. We all know Rodgers threw for over 250. He had a couple touchdowns, had another pick. They did a pretty good job, the Patriots did, against the Packers passing game. But Rodgers came up with some clutch throws. Cobb came up with some clutch receptions. Romeo Doubs with his first touchdown at home. Would have had a second had he been able to complete the catch, but he was not able to. Dez Bryant rule all over again. Christian Watson gets his first touchdown. Came on what was deemed a rushing play. And that's the half of the offense they weren't able to stop the Patriots. They were not able to stop the run game. Aaron Jones had over 100. A.J. Dillon got close to 100. Again, Watson with the rushing touchdown. But for some reason, Matt LaFleur got away from running the football consistently. That allowed the Patriots to get back into the game, eventually getting a lead. I don't know why he tends to do that. You're running the ball down their throats. They're not stopping it. They're not showing you that they're able to stop it. You keep doing it until they show you they can stop you. Run it down their throats all game long. You got two damn good backs. You can rotate them. You got two rookie wide receivers with speed, and Watson and Doubs. Put them back there and do some jet sweeps, some reverses. To me, it feels like Matt LaFleur is kind of using Watson in a Deebo Samuel type of role. You know, Deebo Samuel, 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, head coach. LaFleur coming from that coaching tree. Feels like he's kind of started to use him in that way. But you run the ball down their throats. They weren't showing you that they were able to stop it, and they weren't able to stop it. You had nearly 200 yards rushing. You put up over 400 yards worth of offense overall. Packers defense, which was, again, pretty good. I mean, you gave up 24 points, but you were still pretty good. Rashawn Gary with another couple of sacks. He's wrecking shop like I've been trying to tell people. Sleep if you want to. But they only allowed them just over 200 yards worth of total offense. I mean, it's concerning that this team still shows that they're going to play to the level of their competition. That game could have been a blowout, should have been a blowout, but it wasn't. You have to give the Patriots credit. They played the Packers tough. Didn't matter who the quarterback was in there. But this victory also showed, and you know what? It didn't show. It just reiterated something, at least for me. It reiterated that Matt LaFleur is going to win games the way they need to be won. You're not going to see them win games in the same way every single week. It's going to be something different. If it needs to be gritty, it's going to be gritty. If it needs to be finesse, it's going to be finesse. Smash mouth, they could do that too. They showed tremendous grit in that game. Again, I told you can't look at the record. You can't look at who the quarterback's going to be when it comes to the Patriots. You have to look at the coach who's been there, done that, seen it all. Bill Belichick. And he's going to find some way to make the game ugly to give his team a chance to get that win. And that's exactly what they did. Again, they were up 24-17 late in that fourth quarter. They had chances to go and win it in overtime. Packers defense shows up, gets the job done. Finally, the offense gets it down far enough to kick the field goal. But LaFleur knew, okay, all right, this is going to be a gritty game. We know who we got on the other side. We got to come up with some plays to win this, guys. He's going to have to do it again. As the Packers travel to London for the first time to play in London. I just said that, but here we are being redundant from the redundancy department. First time playing over there. They've got the Giants, who are 3-1. Daniel Jones is hobbled. He's got that ankle sprain. Tyrod Taylor came in for him last Sunday. Injured on his second play. Daniel Jones had to come back in. They're saving grace that game with Saquon Barkley, who you love to see him back and healthy and running the football the way we all know he could. I believe he's leading the NFL in rushing. And that's going to be a challenge because the Packers haven't really been doing a completely stellar job on stopping the run. That's what the Giants are going to rely on. They're going to try to play some smash mouth football. They're going to try to get their defense involved, to try to make things ugly. They're going to try to run the ball down your throat, give themselves a chance to win, especially if Daniel Jones isn't able to play, Tyrod Taylor's not able to play. It's going to be a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley. Sterling Shepard went down for the season. Prayers up to him. But you got to be ready. You're going to a place that you've never been to play a game. It's technically a home game for you. I know Packers fans all around the world are gonna show up and show out in London. But it's a business trip. You got to be focused. Giants are going to be a tough opponent. Again, heavy dose of the run game, I think, is coming. Some physical defense, I think that's coming. But you can play smash mouth football too. But I think they have, but Packers have an advantage with quarterback, with receivers. But you have to be able to exploit that. And it all starts with your running game. It's going to be interesting to see who wins that game. I will give my prediction on this week's Quick Toss. You can look for that late Friday, maybe early Sunday morning. Or early Saturday morning. It's been a week already. The Brewers got me riled up. Badgers got me riled up. It's been a week already, man. With that being said, it's time for me to get on up out of here. This was episode 117 of Toss, the Tristain Sports Show. You know where to find me on social media. At the 20 double. That's at the number 2, the number 0, and the word double. I'll get it together, y'all. I swear. Facebook.com/T on Sports Show. Your home for the Toss Facebook page. We talk about a lot of things there that we don't necessarily get a chance to do on the show. Again, Facebook.com/T on Sports Show. That's TON Sports Show. And of course, TossNationMedia.com. Your home for the Toss brand of sports. Truthful, opinionated, passionate sports. It's what you deserve. But, as I said before, it's time for me to get on up out of here. It's T-Squared, Tristain Thomas, reminding all of you to keep it moving forward. Always forward. Forward always. Until next week, so long from Toss.